All right, everyone, it's time for something that could really shake up the midterm elections, and it's not clear which way it'll go. This could crush the Republicans, or it could also destroy the Democrats, so I'm not even going to bother predicting which one happens, because we've got, with the intel community, you've got secret stuff, classified info, deep state slime, ooh, spooky stuff, and spy versus spy. The House Republicans right now are drafting articles of impeachment against Rod Rosenstein. Now, if they had done this a month ago and said, well, we're going to try to kick Rosenstein out, I would have said, that's not a great idea. The public is very quickly going to bite you in the ass if you try to do that. But we've got two things that have happened in the last week. First, Rosenstein apparently put out a memo to every state AG saying, hey, I need some extra lawyers to look into Brett Kavanaugh. I need over 100 people to do this. Why? Who fucking knows? Highly unusual. I don't think that this has actually ever happened before. It's weird. The vetting process for a SCOTUS candidate is basically do a cursory check to see if the person's an axe murderer or went to Thailand with Mitch McConnell to run coke on his yacht or something like that. A very cursory, it'd take like half a dozen people a week tops and they'd get the okay. The Senate is supposed to vet the SCOTUS nominee by questioning multiple times before their final confirmation hearing. You, Rod Rosenstein, are not supposed to be vetting a SCOTUS candidate. Did this happen for Gorsuch? No, it didn't happen for Gorsuch. Did it happen for Kagan? No, never happened. It's basically looking into someone, making sure, hey, this person's never committed a felony, nor a violent misdemeanor, I would say, or like, they've got a pattern of behavior. They might be a kleptomaniac because they got a dozen minor theft charges. That sort of thing matters. That's well within his purview. He's the deputy AG for the United States. It makes sense. To say to every state agency, hey, I need an army of lawyers for months to look into Brett Kavanaugh, why? As far as I know, that's never happened before. So that's number one. Number two is this. It comes out the other day. We're indicting 12 Russians for the DC leaks. And again, it's the same fucking story that we keep getting from these intel agencies. It's not like, hey, well, we hate Trump, so all of a sudden we're slimy. This is a pattern that's been happening for decades. This goes well back, well beyond Trump being in politics. It goes back before Obama. It even goes back before W or even slimy Bill Clinton. For decades and decades, we keep getting these cases where the government or an intel agency or some staffer tells us something is so, we react based on that info and find out later that it wasn't true. The Iraq War is a great example. It was prefaced on multiple layers of lies. We were sold a pig in a poke based on a traumatic national experience on 9/11 when Bush came out and wrongfully claimed that Saddam Hussein had WMDs, probably wanted to use them on us, and was partnered with Osama. None of these things were ever remotely true, but we were sold the war anyway, lost trillions of dollars, thousands of lives. We had tens of thousands of men come back injured or with PTSD. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians died. Al-Qaeda and ISIS metastasized across the entire Middle East. Wonderful! All of this because of lies coming from U.S. intel agencies and our crooked president at the time. This has happened before. It will happen again, too, by the way. Trump could do it. If Trump were to come out tomorrow and say, well, we think Maduro is trying to get a nuke. We need to invade Venezuela. You know what I would do? I'd say, fuck you. No, we shouldn't invade Venezuela. I want to see proof. I don't want just grainy satellites still that I know you can do better than of some facility you claim has nuclear materials in it. I want proof. I don't want a lead. I don't want a hunch. A hunch, that's what the Mueller probe was prefaced on. At this point, Rosenstein should be impeached. He should be removed from his position because he's clearly gone well beyond his mandate. I mean, Mueller should be kicked out by all rights. It's just no Republican has the balls to raise the specter of that being possible. Trump's not going to do it. The House ain't going to do it. McConnell's Senate ain't going to do it. None of these people are going to do buttfuck about Mueller, even though they know at this point he's just hanging on by a thread. Look, all of these probes, all of the investigations, were prefaced on a hunch that the Russians had demonstrably colluded with members of the Trump campaign and caused the election to be significantly impacted. The only evidence we have from this or the prior indictment from the Mueller probe is that small groups of Russians using some Kremlin money flipped a handful of votes, maybe by using Facebook ads and by leaking stuff that the Democratic Party initially said wasn't even real. The DC leaks did not have a measurable impact on the election. What we do have, however, If we look at the DC leaks, the Podesta leaks, the DNC leaks, all the leaks of the Democratic Party, what we do see is a pattern of behavior within the DNC of complete sliminess. What we do see is that the political machinations of the Democratic Party involve all sorts of minor crimes and all sorts of violations of election law and all sorts of general dubiousness. In which case, who cares if the election is flipped? If the party is that systemically corrupt, who cares if they lose because of Russian hackers? Congrats to the Russian hackers, you saved the US Republic. What, did you want us to keep being strong because you wanted to play Cold War some more? Because, you know, those years of peace were terrible. Things were so boring. All we had were tracksuits and techno music. I'm honestly thinking that that's possible. I'm honestly thinking that someone like Putin just felt sad that he couldn't participate in the good old days of the Cold War. And he's like, well, technology is going to lag behind because we don't have any way to justify increased technological spending on weapon systems, which so often become civilian use, like drones or the internet or something. Oh, we need to keep the Cold War up. My God, we need to go hack something. Go rile up those Americans. Yeah, we're going to have the good old days back. And then secretly, he's like sitting there and he's as happy as a pig in shit because he's like, oh, finally, I'm back on a war footing. This is what's natural to me, Vladimir Putin, the KGB agent. Is that what happened? Did he just get fucking bored? Oh, Boris Yeltsin, what a terrible fellow he was. No, I'm honestly thinking that's possible. And the Republicans and Democrats here both seem to have the same fascination. It's like they've got nostalgia for the pre-90s era. They're like, oh, we need to go back to the good old days. We need to have some more paranoia so that we can spend more money. Is that possible? Yeah, maybe so. But when Rosenstein says, hey, I need 100 lawyers to investigate the SCOTUS nominee from Trump, why? You wouldn't be doing this for anybody else. I guarantee you, if he had put Merrick Garland on the position, you probably would be investigating him. This is just an attempt to slow Trump down and stop him from having a mandate to do anything. It is literally the deep state at this point. It's pretty transparent. And Rosenstein and Mueller and people like that smile and chuckle and love the game because they know that at least a section of the population will never believe that claim no matter how demonstrably true it is. They'll boil it down to Trump being Trump and his fans being partisans and being stupid. Oh, you don't trust the FBI on its word? Well, shame on you, such an anti-American individual. Those good all-American people at the FBI. No FBI agent would ever be biased. It's impossible for an intel agency to lie. That's funny. The left has spent decades talking about how all the G-men, CIA, coke-running sort of bullshit there was terrible. That's funny. You used to want to review these organizations and probe them. But now all of a sudden they're your savior because they're going after Trump now, aren't they? I think that they're sellouts. I think that it's ridiculous that he's investigating Kavanaugh to that degree. I think it's ridiculous that he's coming out and saying, well, yeah, the Russians hacked the election. It didn't flip anything. Again, like the Mueller probe, it didn't flip any votes. It didn't flip any states, rather. It couldn't have because it wasn't expansive enough. You're just making a claim. You're not actually showing us the evidence. You're making a claim that the DC leaks were the result of Russian hackers and Russian provocateurs. Okay, where's the proof? I don't want your word for it. I don't want your claim that that's true. You had a government agency. I am not going to trust you at your word. If you were doing this and it were politically expedient for Trump, if you came out and claimed, again without evidence, hey, no, the DC leaks were a reverse op by the Democratic Party, I wouldn't believe that either. Not on your word. Show me the fucking evidence. If it's so classified that you can't show the American people, then we shouldn't accept it as evidence. That's the name of the game. Don't be trying to Gulf of Tonkin us. You know, you were called a conspiracy theory if you thought that was shifty for the first 40 years after it happened. Now, of course, we know, yeah, it was a false flag in the most literal sense. It was literally used as an improper justification for entering Vietnam. But yeah, don't worry about it too much. You know, the government, they did it for good reasons. The government lied to everybody, but it was okay. Agent Orange, we deployed that, but it's all right. Yeah, those Gulf War veterans, no, their symptoms are just, it's just routine PTSD. There's no Gulf War syndrome. Yeah, they were exposed to a little bit of nerve gas. That's okay. It's just a little bit. The dose makes the poison. You can put a little bit of Agent Orange in with your fucking Kellogg cereal. You'll be fine. Don't worry. You won't get leukemia or get Parkinson's or something. I think that it's really funny that people are willing to believe Rod Rosenstein and his word. How is that different from any other unelected bureaucrat or politician or whatever? You'd be like, hey, you're making a claim. I want a little bit of evidence of that. But people suspend that disbelief as soon as they see the letter that should be after their name. Like Rosenstein, and quite clearly, at this point, he's like a never-Trump Republican sort of figure. Well, they're going to make all sorts of claims up. They also claimed that Trump had Russian models piss on the Obama's bed, and that was part of the original dossier that allowed the FISA court to say, yes, you can investigate the campaign and embed an FBI agent on their campaign. But it's not a spy, it's just an informant. It's just someone who's doing spying, but it's not an actual spy. You know, little mincing words. People actually accepted that stupidity. They actually accepted that that was true. You're nuts. You're accepting the words of an intel agency that has manufactured bullshit before, provably so. Like, you wouldn't have it if it were Bush's FBI manufacturing reasons to go off and kill Middle Easterners. You wouldn't have accepted that at their word. You would have said, well, we need to probe the FBI, find out what's going on here. I do not accept this because I see no true evidence. Okay, well then why don't you do that now? Is it because they're going after Trump? Absolutely. That's about all. Peace out.